Well, I get in touch with my personal daemon by paying attention to those sensations, those undercurrents of emotion. Even physical sensations like heaviness in the chest should not be ignored, or a uncomfortable feeling in the stomach should not be ignored. Hi, I'm Aaron Tomlinson, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk about a daemon, a term that you may be unfamiliar with. Is it a demon or a daemon? So what am I talking about? I'm talking about, first of all, a term that comes from ancient philosophies, particularly Greek philosophy, which is daemon. It's pronounced with an A instead of an E, a daemon. And the daemon was demonized, quite literally, by the church centuries later. And so the terms became somewhat synonymous. In fact, if you look up certain definitions on the internet of the term daemon, you're going to see the definition in English as being demon. So what are we talking about when we're talking about daemons? Let me define, or daemons or demons, what are we talking about? Let me define the term daemon first. So this is my understanding of the daemon. It has a rich development over centuries, like I said, in ancient philosophy. But Heraclitus said that the daemon determines a man or woman's character. And Carl Jung later comes along and says, until we make the unconscious conscious, the unconscious will direct our lives, and we will call it fate. And he's also, I think, they're talking about the daemon. So again, what is the daemon? The daemon is sort of, you can think about it like a part of you that is the divine part of you. It is the godlike part of you. If you believe in reincarnation, you believe that you had a pre-existence in past lives or an eternal pre-existence, and that there is a divine spark inside of you, there's a divine being that is you, that lives inside of you, then that comes closest to what I'm talking about when I use the term the daemon. So the daemon is the part of you that is divine, that lives inside of you, that's buried deep in the unconscious. And you can think about the daemon as sort of that part of you which is shepherding you through your life experience, or if we consider past and future lives, through your lives experiences. And so the daemon is often speaking to us as sort of an undercurrent of uneasiness. A lot of people have a hard time in this society, in this culture, with just being quiet. We really do try to drown out that undercurrent of uneasiness, or that undercurrent of anxiety, or that undercurrent of frustration that we feel, perhaps even developing into a neurosis or a mental health condition like depression or anxiety. We have a tendency to want to suppress and ignore those things. Now, it doesn't always have to show up in the negative way, and I'll explain that in a minute, but it can also show up in a very positive way. Something that energizes you, something that interests you, something that you're all in on, because you have lots of drive and push and desire towards certain things, can also be your daemon trying to speak to you, trying to guide you, or trying to shepherd your life. So you could think of this in terms that are used today when people talk about the higher self. Talk about this self that has access to all past life memories, has access to divinity, has access to a lot of people, when they're communicating with spiritual guides, they're really just communicating with their daemon, and their daemon is coming in the form of a spiritual guide to try to get your attention and try to, as I said, guide you and shepherd you through this life. So the daemon is a very positive thing, whereas demon obviously has a connotation with evil and things of that nature. So it's easy in this society, like I was saying, to drown out, and we try to do this, we try to drown out unpleasant emotions. We might use substances to try to drown it out, but more than likely, a lot of us are using social media, television, entertainment, sports, whatever we can get to kind of distract our attention from the voice of our daemon. Now, remember, the daemon is shepherding you through this life. So if you rebel against the daemon, if you go in the wrong direction, then it can be very stern. And it can, again, show up in your life as frustration. It can show up in your life as depression or neuroses. If you're following the voice of your daemon, it can show up as inner peace, as inner harmony. It can show up as desire and satisfaction. But regardless, this is something that is inside of us. So that begs the question, how do I get in touch with my personal daemon? How do I get in touch with my personal daemon? Well, I get in touch with my personal daemon by paying attention to those sensations, those undercurrents of emotion. Even physical sensations like heaviness in the chest should not be ignored, or a uncomfortable feeling in the stomach should not be ignored. Those things should be explored. Those things should be seen as messages that perhaps we're making a wrong decision, or we're on the wrong path, or we're not learning and approaching life from the perspective that's going to bring us the most benefit. And so the way we get in touch with the daemon, obviously, is to shut out all of this external noise and spend some time listening to these things, spending some time in meditation, spending some time in self-reflection, and maybe most importantly, in trusting what we perceive, trusting our intuitions, trusting and listening to our own internal guidance over and above and beyond guidance that might come to us from without. So if the daemon is so positive and is beneficial to our lives, how did it become synonymous with the demon? Well, I think it's pretty obvious that the Orthodox Christian Church was definitely wanting to have conformity. It was wanting to have religion. It was wanting to have a community that would empower the people in power by having followers. We see the same thing in churches today, right? We get followers, we get tithes, we get offerings, we get influence, and all those various different things, because you're listening to our voice, because we are the pastors, we are the shepherds, we are the ones that are guiding you and leading you in your life's decisions. So really, ultimately, it's about control. And if you want to have control of an individual, then you first have to wrestle away from that individual their own self-control, their own self-guidance system. We usurp. So basically, the church usurped the role of the daemon inside of each individual. And so in order to do that, we have to discredit the other authority, in this case, the authority that is inside of you, your personal daemon. So of course, the church saw it as something evil. Now, it's not always that simple or that corrupt, because let's be honest, we all have darker urges inside of us. We all have demons, if you will, inside of us, or drives, instinctual drives that are driving us to things that may not be beneficial for us or may not be beneficial for the society. And so what was amplified were those dark urges, which more than likely are a response. They're an internal response and instinct that comes when we are not in harmony or in communication with our daemon. And so we're being directed into harmful and destructive ways. Those can be aspects of the personality. They can even be tools of the daemon to get our attention, but they're not the same thing as the daemon. And so it was easy then for the church to say, don't listen to your instinctual drives, don't listen to your evolutionary drives, because those things are viewed as evil and viewed as immoral. So therefore, those things that are driving the personality are demons. And by doing so, not only were they able to do away with a person listening to their own self and their own guidance and their own intuition, they were able to demonize the daemon in order to wrestle self-guidance and self-control away from you to take advantage and build churches. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope I clarified some of this, maybe introduced you to a new concept. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't, if you've enjoyed this video, and like and comment for the algorithms. We have a growing community on Facebook called the New Day Global Community. It's a private Facebook group. You can join it. The link is in the bio. Please answer the questions when you go to join so that we can welcome you into this growing community. And thank you for watching this video.